The fish who finds the sea, the secret of life. There is a story about a fish, swimming through the vast ocean, tirelessly seeking something. It moves through the water, twisting and turning, always in search of something greater, something more fulfilling. The fish looks for the sea outside of itself, unaware that it is already surrounded by it. This is much like us. We too are often on a quest for something, happiness, fulfillment, meaning, believing that it is somewhere else outside of us. But the truth is, we are already immersed in the very thing we seek. The illusion of separation is one of the greatest challenges we face. We believe that we are separate from the world, from others, and from the universe. This belief leads us to feel disconnected, isolated, and as though something is missing from our lives. We search for answers in distant places, external circumstances, or future outcomes, but in reality, we are already part of everything we seek. Just like the fish that swims in the ocean, we are surrounded by the sea of life. The sea is not something we need to search for, it is something we are already in. For much of our lives, we feel as though we must find fulfillment through external means. We work, we strive, we chase after success, relationships, or possessions, thinking that once we attain them, we will be complete. But like the fish in the sea, we are already in the flow of life. Everything we need is already here. The more we focus on seeking something outside ourselves, the more we fail to appreciate the present moment, the very moment that contains all the richness of life. The truth is that life has its own natural rhythm, its own flow. Just as the fish moves with the current of the water, we too must learn to trust the flow of life. We often resist this flow, trying to control, manipulate, and push things into place. This resistance creates struggle, confusion, and frustration. But when we stop fighting against the current and instead surrender to it, we find that life becomes easier, more fulfilling, and more aligned with who we are. We are not meant to force our way through life. We are meant to move with it, trusting that the flow will guide us where we need to go. The moment of awakening comes when we realize that we are not separate from the life we are living. Just as the fish is never separate from the sea, we are never separate from the universe. We are immersed in it, a part of its vastness. The sea is not something we must find. It is already with us. Similarly, peace and fulfillment are not things to be found outside ourselves. They are already within us, present in the here and now. The secret to life is in recognizing this oneness, in understanding that we are part of everything, and that there is nothing to seek because we are already in the very thing we have been searching for. When we come to this realization, we find a deep sense of peace. We stop searching for meaning outside of ourselves and begin to recognize that meaning is found in the present moment. The fish never needs to search for the sea because it is in the sea. Likewise, we do not need to search for happiness, purpose, or fulfillment because they are already part of who we are. The secret to life is in recognizing that we are already living the very life we seek. When we let go of the illusion of separation and embrace the natural flow of life, we find that we are already immersed in the beauty and fullness of existence. So, the secret to life is simple. Stop searching for what is already yours. Let go of the need to control, to force, and to strive. Trust the flow of life. Recognize that you are part of something much greater than yourself. Just as the fish is never separate from the sea, you are never separate from the universe. And in this recognition, you will find the peace and fulfillment you have been searching for all along. We live in a world shaped by the illusion of separation. It is a thought that dominates much of our experience, the belief that we are distinct, isolated individuals, separate from the world around us. We see ourselves as little islands floating through life, somehow apart from the vast ocean of existence. This belief in separation leads to many of our struggles. We feel disconnected from others, from nature, and even from the universe itself. But in truth, this sense of isolation is a misconception. The reality is that we are not separate. We are part of an interconnected web of life, each moment woven together with everything else. Consider the fish that swims in the ocean. It doesn't know it is part of the sea. It simply moves through it as if the sea were something outside of itself. But the truth is, the fish is the sea. It cannot exist without it. The water is both its environment and its sustenance, its reality and its source of life. Yet if you ask the fish about the sea, it would not be able to conceive of it as anything other than its immediate experience. It has no sense of itself as separate from the water. The fish is in the sea, and the sea is in the fish. The fish cannot be pulled out of the water without ceasing to exist, and the water cannot be without the fish that swims within it. This is a profound analogy for us. We live as if we are apart from life, not recognizing that we are immersed in it completely. We treat ourselves as separate from nature, separate from others, and even separate from the very flow of existence itself. We might look around and see the world as something outside of us, something to be conquered, shaped, or even controlled. But the truth is that we are not outside of life. We are not observing it from some distant, detached place. We are in it. We are part of it. This illusion of separation feeds into much of our inner conflict. We feel as though we must struggle, strive, and achieve to prove ourselves worthy. We think we need to work hard to fit into the world, as if we have been placed outside of it, with no inherent connection. But when we take a step back and truly observe, we begin to see that our struggle is unnecessary. Life is not something we need to control or fight against. It is something we need to embrace, to live within, and to trust. Just like the fish that moves with the current of the water, we must learn to trust the current of life, understanding that we are already part of it. The more we insist on maintaining the illusion of separation, the more we create dissonance within ourselves. It's as if we are swimming upstream, trying to fight against the very water that sustains us. The moment we let go of the idea that we are separate from the world, we begin to move naturally with the flow, finding ease and grace in the process. The fish never questions the water it swims in. It simply trusts that it is part of it. We too must trust that we are part of the flow of life, moving through it with purpose, not through effort, but through recognition of our interconnectedness. Only then will we realize that the separation we have long believed in was never real. It was simply a product of our perception. We are often in a constant state of searching for meaning, happiness, success, and fulfillment. Like the fish swimming through the vast ocean, we believe that what we seek is somewhere out there, beyond us, somewhere to be found in the future or in external circumstances. But just like the fish who is already surrounded by the water it seeks, we too are already immersed in what we are searching for. The truth is, we often miss the present moment because we are so caught up in the chase for something we think we lack. Our minds are conditioned to think that fulfillment is something to be achieved or acquired, as though it exists outside of ourselves. We imagine that once we reach a certain milestone, whether it's a promotion at work, a new relationship, or a new possession, we will finally be content. But this search for happiness outside of ourselves leads to an endless cycle. Once we reach one goal, another appears on the horizon, and so we continue, always searching, always striving, but never fully satisfied. The fish does not need to find the sea, it is already in it. Similarly, we do not need to find happiness or purpose because they are already embedded in the very fabric of our being. We often live as though life is something we need to chase after, something we need to get right or figure out. This creates a constant sense of yearning, a feeling that something is missing. But this feeling of missing is not a reflection of reality. It is a product of our perception, our belief that we must go out and find something to fill an imagined void. We fail to see that the life we seek is not a distant destination. It is here now in the very moment we are living. The more we search for it, the more we miss the richness of the life we are already living. The fish, by swimming through the water, is already experiencing what it seeks. In the same way, by living fully in the present, we can realize that the fulfillment we seek has always been available to us. The reason we miss this truth is because we are so focused on the future. We are always thinking about what we don't have or what we still need to achieve. Our attention is pulled forward to what's next, and as a result, We fail to experience the present moment fully. We are always looking over our shoulders, always waiting for the next thing. But in doing so, we overlook the richness of life happening right here and right now. When we stop searching, when we release the need to chase after what we believe we lack, we find that everything we need is already here. Fulfillment is not something to be achieved in the future, but something to be experienced in the present. Just like the fish, we need not swim endlessly in search of the sea. Instead, we must simply become aware of the water that already surrounds us, embracing the richness of the moment, the flow of life that is always present, always flowing through us. When we stop searching and start living, we realize that we have been in the very thing we sought all along. Life moves with its own rhythm, its own current, and when we understand this flow, we no longer need to force our way through it. But we often do. We struggle, we fight, and we try to control life, as though we can direct the flow of the river itself. We do this because we believe that life needs to be shaped, controlled, or managed to bring us the outcomes we desire. But the truth is, life is already moving in its own direction, with or without our resistance. Like the fish swimming effortlessly through the sea, we too can move with the current, trusting that we are part of a natural process that has its own intelligence. When we resist the flow of life, we are fighting against the current. The more we try to control or direct our experiences, the more we create tension, frustration, and struggle. It's like trying to swim upstream or fight against the tide. The harder we try, the more we exhaust ourselves and the more we miss the point. Life is not something we need to force or manipulate. It is something we need to flow with. The fish doesn't struggle against the sea. It moves with the water, adapting to the natural rhythms of its environment. It trusts that the water will carry it where it needs to go. In the same way, we must learn to trust the flow of life, knowing that it is guiding us toward what we need, not what we think we want. This does not mean we become passive or idle in the face of life's challenges. It means that we stop resisting the inevitable flow of change and uncertainty that defines our existence. Life is constantly changing, evolving, and shifting, and when we learn to move with it, we find that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. When we try to control every aspect of life, we are effectively fighting against this natural process. But when we allow ourselves to relax into the flow, we begin to experience life's beauty in a way that we never could have imagined while trying to control every outcome. The more we trust the flow of life, the more we begin to understand that our role is not to control it, but to participate in it. We don't need to fight against the current. We simply need to align ourselves with it. Like the fish in the sea, we don't need to question the water. We just need to move with it. The flow of life has its own wisdom, its own direction, and when we stop trying to force things into place, we begin to notice that life unfolds in the most beautiful and surprising ways. Resistance keeps us locked in a cycle of struggle and dissatisfaction. When we stop fighting against life, we open ourselves up to its natural course. Instead of swimming upstream, we find that we can move with the current effortlessly, gracefully, and in harmony with the larger rhythm of existence. Life is not something to be conquered or controlled. It is something to be experienced, something to be embraced. When we trust the flow, we realize that we are never apart from it. We are part of the current itself, and in this recognition, we move through life with ease, peace, and acceptance. The moment we awaken to the truth of our existence, we realize something profound. We have never truly been apart from the world around us. Much like the fish that is always in the sea, we have always been immersed in the greater whole of life. We spend so much of our time searching for purpose, happiness, or fulfillment, believing that these things are distant or unattainable. But in truth, we are already part of everything we seek. The secret to peace is not found in the pursuit of something out there. It is in recognizing that what we are looking for has always been right here, within us and all around us. This realization doesn't come through effort, force, or striving. It comes through awareness. The fish doesn't have to search for the sea. It is simply present in it, moving through it naturally, without questioning its existence. Similarly, we do not need to search for meaning or purpose in our lives. It is already embedded in the very fabric of our being, in the flow of our everyday experiences. What we need is not to look for something new, but to recognize what has always been present. Life itself is the answer we seek. The more we cling to the idea that we are separate from the world, the more we feel isolated, lonely, and disconnected. We imagine that our purpose is something we must find outside of ourselves, something we must achieve or obtain. This creates a sense of striving, of reaching for something just beyond our grasp. But when we let go of the illusion of separation, we begin to see that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. The universe, life, existence, these are not distant, abstract concepts. They are what we are immersed in every moment, whether we realize it or not. When we recognize that we are already part of the whole, there is a profound shift in how we experience life. We stop searching for fulfillment outside of ourselves and start to experience the richness of the present moment. There is no need to find meaning because meaning is already inherent in everything. Every breath, every movement, every interaction is filled with meaning. We no longer need to go looking for something to complete us because we are already complete in the fullest sense. The sea does not need to search for itself, it simply is. And in the same way, we do not need to search for our place in the world. We already belong. This awareness of oneness does not mean we stop striving or pursuing our goals. It means that we approach life from a place of acceptance, recognizing that we are part of something much larger, and that our individual desires and dreams are simply expressions of the greater flow of life. We stop trying to force things into place and begin to allow life to unfold naturally, knowing that we are exactly where we need to be. The fish does not fight the sea, it moves with it. Similarly, we begin to move through life with a sense of ease, trusting that we are being carried by the very currents that sustain us. When we awaken to the truth of our oneness with life, we find peace, not in some future moment or in some distant goal, but right here in the present. Everything we have been searching for is already within us, and the key to fulfillment is not in the pursuit of something new, but in the recognition that we are already immersed in the fullness of life. The realization of this oneness is the secret to living in harmony with the world and experiencing the peace that comes from knowing we are part of the whole. When we stop searching, we open ourselves up to the most profound realization. Everything we've been striving for is already here. We often believe that fulfillment, peace, and joy are destinations we must reach, something far off in the future, always just beyond our grasp. But in truth, they are not waiting for us in some distant place. They are part of the very fabric of our existence, woven into the present moment, just as the fish is surrounded by the sea it seeks. The secret to life is not in the future or in acquiring something new. It is in recognizing the fullness of life that we are already living. We live in a world that constantly reinforces the idea that we must chase after something to feel complete, whether it's success, recognition, or personal achievement. This idea feeds into a never-ending cycle of desire, a cycle that leaves us always reaching for something outside of ourselves, while overlooking what is already available in the here and now. But the truth is, the act of chasing, the constant striving, only prevents us from experiencing life as it is. It is when we let go of this relentless pursuit that we begin to experience the peace and fulfillment we've been seeking all along. Imagine the fish in the sea. It never stops to wonder if it is in the right place or if it should be somewhere else. It simply swims, trusting in the water that surrounds it. The fish doesn't need to find the sea. It is already in it, breathing it in with every moment. Similarly, when we stop searching for something outside of us, we realize that we are already living in the flow of life, already immersed in the currents that guide us. Fulfillment is not something to be reached, but something to be realized. It is found in the act of being present, in fully experiencing the moment we are living right now. When we stop looking for what's missing, we discover that life is full, rich, and abundant in every way. We begin to see the beauty in the simple things, the moments that pass us by unnoticed when we are too focused on the future. The act of being present, of simply experiencing life without trying to control it, opens us up to a world of possibility. Every experience, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity for connection, understanding, and peace. The secret to life is not in constantly striving to become something else, but in realizing that we are already complete. Just as the fish is already in the sea, we are already part of the flow of existence. We do not need to force our way into it or chase after it. It is already here, surrounding us, within us. When we accept this, we stop looking for external validation or external goals to define our worth. We simply exist, fully present in the moment, and in this recognition, we find the peace that has always been available to us. Ultimately, life is not a race or a competition. It is an experience to be lived. The secret to living fully is to stop seeking fulfillment in the future, to stop chasing after what we think is missing, and to instead embrace the life that is already unfolding around us. When we let go of the pursuit and surrender to the present, we find that everything we've been looking for was never outside of us. It was always here in the very moment we are living. The secret is simply to realize that you are already part of the flow of life, and by being fully present in it, you will experience the peace, fulfillment, and joy you've always sought. In conclusion, the secret to life lies not in the search for something outside of ourselves, but in the deep realization that we are already part of the vast flow of existence. Like the fish swimming in the ocean, we spend so much of our time chasing after something we believe is missing, unaware that we are already immersed in the very thing we seek. The fulfillment, peace, and meaning we long for are not distant goals or future outcomes. They are already within us, within the present moment we are living. We often feel isolated, disconnected, and separate from the world. But the truth is that we are woven into the fabric of life itself. The more we let go of the illusion of separation, the more we recognize that we are part of the flow, part of the current that guides us. Life doesn't need to be controlled or forced, it only needs to be embraced. When we stop fighting against the current and start moving with it, we find that life unfolds naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect harmony with who we are. The key to peace and fulfillment is simple. Stop searching for what you already have. Trust the flow of life, surrender to the present moment, and recognize that you are already in the sea you've been searching for. Life is not something to be conquered or understood in the future. It is something to be experienced right here, right now. Once we realize this, we no longer need to strive for a distant future or a perfect outcome. Instead, we find peace in simply being, in living fully in the moment, and in accepting that everything we need is already within us. So, the secret to life is not about finding something external. It's about recognizing the truth that has always been right before us. We are already part of the flow, and in this recognition, we discover the joy, peace, and fulfillment we have been seeking all along.